Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending where you are, and welcome to Cloudy's Roundup, where we are going to go through the cloud gaming news of the week. So it is myself, Duncan, aka One to Escape, and as always, we have Barry. How is it going, Barry?
Yeah, it's all good. Thank you very much. It's Friday, so we're into that crossover time of kind of, hopefully, for most people, work lives ending and family life and gaming life and picking up. So it's all good.
Good. We are going to go through this all here. And the first thing we're going to start off with is just a recap on the GFN news of the week. So GFN this week has had a pretty strong week. Again, it just all this sort of stuff gets into a bit of a blur, and you just forget what all is going on because it just changes all so quickly. So this week, GFN has dropped a load of Witcher games onto the platform, which is absolutely brilliant to see, and more GOG support. So we touched on this in a lot more detail last night with the other news dropping as well, but I know there's a couple of people out there who started doing comparisons about The Witcher and how well it runs. So have you had a chance to test any other sites yet?
No, not yet. I didn't quite have a chance between both of our shows last night. It's kind of leading us into well into the evening. I literally just did not get a chance, unfortunately, but it'll be something that's on the agenda for this weekend.
Yep, same with me. I'm just looking forward to giving this all a go. Again, with these, you can pick these up for absolutely. You can pick some of these games up for really, really cheap. Like Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game for, I think you can get that for under £20 out there, even though it's a day and date release. So that'll be about $25. You can actually get that on some of the sites. When I'm talking about sites, I'm talking about the more trustworthy sites. You can get it for cheap. I'm not talking the GTAs and all that sort of ones, which have got horrible reputations. I'm talking about the more trustworthy sort of sites out there. You can pick it up pretty cheap. And again, the other ones, again, I think everybody knows all about The Witcher and things like that. So it was already the GeForce Now. We talked about this last night anyway. GeForce Now was from a 5 or 6 last week up to a 6, 7 or 8 already for this month, just before the Switcher stuff joining.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think it's a case of it's momentum, and that's what we see. We're consistently seeing momentum for GFN at the moment. With that post at the start of a month, kind of setting the expectations, dropping the content then each week, obviously throwing in some extras at the same time. But yeah, it really is. It is just a momentum builder, and you really feel that 2021 for GFN is kicked off in a fashion that they've just started that ball rolling, and it's just carrying on, picking up pace, and they're doing a really good job.
Yes, they are indeed. They are, again, every single month now, they have just dropped something. They're dropping all the big games, which are coming to Steam, and they're dropping some of the older games on GOG as well. And I just want to see what other games are going to target there. I do want some of the older games out there, so you don't have to worry as much. I'm just really intrigued in how it is going to pan out there, because could you imagine if they got some of the absolute classics on there, and my head has just went blank. Like Monkey Island and all is on there. We're talking real old school stuff where they have to use the DOS box and stuff. That would be absolutely awesome to see if they really go deep into the GOG library there and actually start pillaging a lot of the old games, because I think that would bring a load of people onto it.
I think it would. Have you been playing Assassin's Creed this week? Because you're all about the pillaging.
Yes, I haven't. I actually haven't been playing Assassin's Creed this week. So, but yes, it's just stuck in my head after last night. But we will move on here to the big news of the week, I would say. We've got so much news to actually go through here, but the aim is to keep this down to about 20 minutes to half an hour. We're trying to keep this as a nice bite-size sort of chunk, and then you've got this to talk through again. Bethesda has officially joined Xbox, and what we know as well is they have dropped a number of games onto Game Pass, and a number of these have went into the cloud. The only ones not going into the cloud on this one are Morrowind, Oblivion, and what was the other one?
New Vegas.
New Vegas, yeah, they were the 3 games. All the rest of these are available on xCloud. So a pretty big announcement there from Xbox last night.
Yep, it was indeed. It's been a big week for them, and I think it's just I think for anybody who is watching right now and didn't catch the Green Room episode 1 last night, I'd definitely recommend go back and check it out, because we covered lots of this stuff in great detail yesterday. But it was an expected week. We were talking about this potentially kind of closing at the end of last week. It spilled into this week, and it's been a fantastic week for Microsoft in that respect, because that news, that deal is done. They've now brought games from the Bethesda library into Game Pass and into the cloud. It's exactly what people were wanting and what they expected.
Yeah, since we've now had it digested, we know what is going to happen here. Have you actually been playing any Bethesda games today, or has the news sunk in anymore that it's all happening?
I think certainly it's kind of sunk in, because I think obviously we first had EU kind of approval on Monday, official confirmation from Microsoft on Tuesday, and then obviously this announcement dropping yesterday. So I think as the week's gone on, it's really helped for that kind of to kind of wrap your head around the sheer powerhouse that it's kind of turned into by bringing Bethesda into under the Xbox banner. As for trying them, not yet. I've just finished work and then come straight to join you and all of these lovely people watching us. How about you? Have you tried it yet? Have you tried anything?
I have been playing some Bethesda games with my wee Kishi today. I'm telling you now, if you don't have a Kishi or like a strap-on for your phone, or it didn't sound good to add to your phone, it is absolutely... I can't believe how easy it is. I'm still of the opinion I would love some games, which, again, we touched on this in the Green Room last night, where you can actually have the game specifically for your phone, which integrate with the main game itself. But I was able to play some games there. I'm continuing playing Rage 2 on Xbox there, and really having a good laugh with that. But I think the news. Yes, Andy. Oh dear. Yes. I think the news about Microsoft, I think it is making the shock waves right around the gaming industry now, and I think the penny is beginning to drop in regards to where these games are going and what games are not going here. I think the best way to think about it here, any games you see here on this screen, bar the Elder Scrolls, I'm just trying to think if there's another one, and Fallout 76, don't be expecting to see any of these games on any other platforms on the next version of them.
Yeah, I would agree with that, completely. You can see the way that it is heading.
Yeah, you can just see. I think the realization is beginning to sink in for people that this is coming, and unfortunately, uh, there is going to be consequences to this. Again, we can sit and talk about is exclusives good or exclusives bad, and I'm going to say this: there's good and bad about having exclusives. I'm more a positive sort of person on exclusives. I think exclusives matter, and exclusives actually. Exclusive studios like Bethesda and I can actually be a positive in that they can maybe have some more creative freedom going forward, and they can just focus about making the games good, and the actual thinking about this game has to make a profit, especially being on Game Pass, is actually reduced.
Yeah, that is a really valid point, and I think from a positive perspective, regardless maybe of how you kind of look at exclusives, you kind of think in your head, when people talk about all these advertising, marketing, and and kind of content that features maybe within films, you kind of hear that that phrase that sex sells. And I think if you translate that into what we're seeing with gaming and exclusives, I think what you're actually seeing is that exclusive sells, because the exclusive nature of the content that's available on the platform drives adoption and drives people to engage, because if they really want to play those games, that's where they end up. And I know that's something Andy said, again on our show last night. If you want to play Spider-Man, you'll go and buy a PlayStation. If you want to play the games that are in front of us on the screen right now, then you're going to go and sub to Game Pass. That's the way that you're gonna do it, and obviously as they go forward as well with other titles.
Yeah, I know we're getting a couple of comments about the performance of xCloud. xCloud's performance is mediocre. We will put that there if you've got it. When I've been playing it, I've actually been using the local streaming on my phone, which means I'm just playing it over my network with my Xbox in the house. And I have to say this, it has been working pretty well with that. But I know that it's not xCloud. But we will we do know that the upgrades are coming, and with all cloud services, this isn't making excuses, I'm just putting this out there. Stadia could work absolutely perfect for you, and xCloud might be absolutely horrific. Strangely enough, xCloud could work absolutely perfect for one person, and Stadia will not work perfect for that person. The reason is it's in the cloud, and generally speaking, Stadia is a lot better than. So I'm not even going to say a lot better. It is probably still leading just as the number one cloud service there, closely followed by GFN. For me, GFN, some of the games look better than they do on Stadia, and input lag and all that sort. It is all much of a muchness for me. But xCloud does need to do some catching up, and we've already started to see the catch up on xCloud with the 1080p and the browser support coming.
Yeah, I think it's also the one thing I've noticed, in the time with xCloud that I've spent, it very much varies per title as well. So, like for example, I played Pez on xCloud to test it out because I played it on the console and I wanted to test that out. The experience was okay, but it was a little bit noticeable that you were playing it in the cloud. But then switch to something like Dirt 5, and whilst obviously naturally the console experience is better, Dirt 5 runs extremely well in the cloud. And then I've had a conversation with Ben today, who's tried out xCloud, and surprise, surprise, he's gone and run Doom because he's an absolute Doom fanatic. And he's messaged me and said, wow, the performance on this is brilliant. And they're games that we've played in the cloud. We're accustomed to playing them, and they're realistically, as you say, they're only going to get better. Right now we're at 720p. As they push and upgrade hardware, it's only going to get better. It's a matter of time before other services out there catch up. And I think it is fair to say, again, coming back to one of the points that you made, we see it on social media every week. People that are in the Stadia community, people that have got Luna. You've got people that have played Luna and said, actually, my experience on Luna is better than the experience that I've had with Stadia, and vice versa. It happens all over the shop. I think even Andy, if I remember correctly, had to kind of move heaven on earth with his router and port forwarding to kind of get Stadia to properly function. But he's not had to do that with other services that he's tried. So it just goes to show that there are tangible differences, and there probably are good underlying reasons for those, aside of the fact that obviously they're just different cloud services.
Yeah, one thing as well, which needs to be taken into account, is the Xbox tech which they're going to be using. I'm not talking about Orion. That is going to be something which I think is going to be featuring in a lot of the games going forward, because they already announced during that talk last night that one of the things they were going after was the id tech, and we know Orion's and all is built into that. So I would not be surprised if the id tech engine, I'm probably picturing that one. I'll probably get the naming wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes the lead engine now for Xbox game development for the games to come out from this cycle. It's games which have started this cycle are going to stay on that engine, but new games, do not be surprised if they go onto the id tech engine and then pumping Orion through that as well. The tech I was actually going to be talking about is the double in the frame rate, or even more in some cases, up to 120. I think that is the tech which is definitely going to be pushed for xCloud, and it is going to be. I'm going to say it. Basically, I think most of these games, if they're not 60 FPS, and a lot of them games are 60 FPS, are going to get the upgrade to it. So that is going to be with xCloud in mind as well.
Yep, you've hit the nail on the head there, and I think the optimization and what role that plays in transforming to the cloud is going to be very key. And I think as gamers on the platform, everybody all round is going to win, because if you're playing on a console, you're going to have a better experience. If you're playing in the cloud, you're going to get a better experience, and that's what it is. We touched on it last night. Phil Spencer made it absolutely clear in that interview that he wants to make sure that people have the best possible experience, and everybody has confidence, or a vast majority of people have confidence, that Microsoft are perfectly placed to deliver that.
Absolutely. I think if you want to hear more about Xbox, watch it last night. I think it was a bit of fun. It was our first one. We're just trying to get the format and all nailed down, but Happy is running that, and I think he is happy with the way things are going. But we're going to be doing some bits and bobs changes to it as well, and maybe get stuff, because we were actually meant to be launching during that last night a game club for Xbox as well, where we're going to pick a game which is on xCloud and on Game Pass, obviously, and we'll play that over the month, and then we'll come back for our thoughts over that as well. So that is something really interesting, and you could pick one of them Bethesda games like Dishonored might be a good call, or The Evil Within, or Prey. There's so many good choices there, and it is going to be interesting. That we will move on to Luna. I think after Luna, we will move on to Stadia, because I think I make it controversial in Stadia. Shocker. But Luna actually announced 2 games last night, which we need to get onto the website as well, which I just remembered. The first one is Team Sonic Racing, which absolutely a good game. If you're into that, you're absolutely amazing. And for Ubisoft Plus, it is an old school game, which I know a lot of people will give a lot of love in Far Cry 2. Get the settings tweaked up in that, and I think people are going to have a good laugh in that, even though I don't like the mechanic in it. And that's the one with, I'm pretty sure, with malaria. It just gets a pain in the butt saying, I didn't swear. It becomes a bit of a pain during it, but again, it is a good game. So, Luna, adding 2 games, what are you thinking there?
I think that they've struck a good balance this week with what they've delivered, because obviously they've delivered something that's a bit fun, kind of pulls on that, Sonic and a kind of those happy feelings that people get when they think about Sonic, and how they kind of reflect on their time with each of the Sonic games. It just adds that bit of fun, and a different experience, onto the platform. And then obviously they've gone and kind of struck gold, if you like, and kind of brought an older Far Cry classic, that people no doubt may have played, may have missed the first time round, and want to, may have entered the series at a later point and then want to go back and revisit it. So I think that's, it's a great bit of kind of disparity in the titles they've brought. There's something with a bit of fun and something for people to get their teeth stuck into. So that's good.
Okay, now we move on to Stadia. It has been I'm going to say this, in some ways it's been another good week because it has been pretty boring for the most part, unless I'm missing some sort of controversy, bar the one I sort of stirred up without even meaning to stir up.
You stirred up controversy?
Yes.
Never.
I was just innocently tweeting that it was sad to see so many people actually say that they're giving up Stadia and doing that. And it seemed to have been boiled up to some massive thing, and I'm just sending stuff out there just as I see it. It's just mad how things just spin out of control there. Let's start off with this, which is just this week in Stadia. If it decides to load, you wouldn't believe I've got a gig internet there, sure you wouldn't. Basically, Monster Energy Supercross arrived, and we have a number of sales. Sales are dead on if you're going to buy games in Stadia. My mind still hasn't been changed, and again, they're not bad, but again, if you've been on Stadia from the very start, you will have a good number of them. But if you don't, is there any there which really tickle your fancy?
If I was to there's a couple that I'd probably go out and make a recommendation for people to play if they haven't played them. And ironically, there are 2 games in that list that haven't been pro games. And the first would be Lost Words Beyond the Page. I purchased that towards the back half of 2020. Played literally, I started it on a Friday, and I just couldn't put it down. It was done within hours, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And especially coming in at that $10 price point, that is a bargain. Pick it up because you won't regret it. And I know it has obviously just come out of its exclusivity period with Stadia, so it is going to consoles. But with that deal on it, I'd definitely say pick it up because it's a great experience. And then the other one that I would also say pick up would be Spiritfarer. They're the 2 that stand out for me on that list because they're both games that I've picked up and I've really enjoyed, but they've not been part of Pro. So it would be money well spent.
Yeah, I found them games there, the games which I like. Shock Horror, Enter the Gungeon, it's a roguelike. I like that one. One which you may like or may not like. It was one of the earliest Stadia Pro games, and it is the Serious Sam collection. I actually really enjoyed that, and me and Kelly were playing that co-op, and you may have heard about that. It didn't go well. So again, decent enough sales. The problem Stadia has at this moment in time, I know everybody says the sales are basically the same over and over again. That is because the library is still trying to build up. So I'm not going to give them grief about it being the same sales again because it is just expanding out there. But my number one piece of advice for anybody. If you're going to pick Reigns up, just get it on your mobile. I think that is the best option there. I would not pick it up in Stadia unless you're a achievement hunter. So that is that bit there. Oh, and Creator has got its battle pass.
Yep.
or no. I had my thoughts in Creator, and they are still the sort of same. I think it's hopefully with them not. We can actually talk about that briefly there. Creator is now on Epic Game Store, so PC users can do that. So I am hoping that more people will come to that. However, I'm very skeptical because there's another game engine or game creating game engine sort of thing on Epic, or just about to go on Epic, called The Core, and it looks like a slightly better version of Creator, unfortunately. It looks a bit more fluid and things like that. So I'm hoping more people pick Creator up on the Epic Game Store. But I'm just worried about it there because Core is going to be going there.
I think it's definitely in a little bit of that tight spot, isn't it? When you've got a similar game on the same platform. It's going to come down to people's choice and people's perception of what they enjoy more, or what they find themselves engrossed in playing. But it certainly it is one to watch, and you kind of do feel. I mean, for us, Creator, as per the Cloud Gaming Awards at the end of 2020, the community voted it as the best indie title. So there's a lot of love for it out there, and all that you can really wish for and hope for is that by dropping onto Epic, that love grows and it kind of just gets out to a wider audience, and it kind of gets the plaudits that it does deserve. There's a lot of work gone into it, and that's what needs to be remembered, I think.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping it does expand out, but I have my fears about it. The guys there are absolutely amazing, and you can't say anything but that. They are brilliant there, but I just have my fears about that game going forward. And we've got more games coming to Stadia in Blue Fire, which was leaked in the ESRB ratings or the PEGI ratings, one of them ones, and we've got Trine 4. This news dropped yesterday, just before the Bethesda press conference by Microsoft. These games, Blue Fire, I think I'm not going to like it. No, it's platforming. That's all right. I thought it was Dark Souls like.
No. And I won't make that mistake again. Duncan doesn't like Souls.
No, I don't like Dark Souls. But it's a platforming game. Platforming games for me I don't mind them. It will just depend. Also, do we have a price here? We do not have a price as yet. Again, it looks fun. It looks dead on. It's coming slightly later to Stadia. I have no problem with it coming slightly later. Maybe should have been announced it was coming slightly later. But bar that, absolutely dead on. And the other one is Trine 4, which is it's been out for a while now. And again, this is just another one dev. I've got the sound on and no one else can hear it. This is another one that I'm going to politely call, or not so politely, and I'm meaning no disrespect. It's another library filler for Stadia. It's just another game to get onto the library to say they've got so many games. Again, I like the Trine games. I always say it wrong, but it's not going to pull a load of people here. Unfortunately for me, this has got a bit of, this may be a pro game look about it, because it's an oldish sort of game, and we'll just have to see how that goes. So, what do you think about these two games coming?
I mean, obviously, first and foremost, adding more titles to the library is always a positive. 3D platformers, that sort of thing. They're great fun. But I think I think, as we've maybe spoken about before, my biggest fear is that they've got pro titles written all over them. They're very similar, very samey in their kind of their style of game that we have got in the library. And I personally feel that what we're gonna, they might launch obviously with an initial price, maybe a pro discount, and then I kind of really do get the feeling that maybe in the next 3 to 4 months you'll actually see those being included in pro. That's if none of them go straight into pro at all.
Yeah, it's absolutely good that Stadia is getting more games. That's what we want Stadia to get, as many games as possible. What if they cannot get games or day and date, the big titles day and date, or they're going to come slightly later? I do wish they're padding out their library with a Bioshock or Bioshock or some of older titles like that, just to have some more AAA titles on the platform, just to pad it out a bit more with a bit more meat and potatoes. I'm going to just have to word this correctly here. I play all games. When I say I want Call of Duty on Stadia, I want this game, all these big AAA games, the chances are I'm not actually going to play them. I haven't played Call of Duty in years. I'm just saying them sort of things for the health of the platform. If you give me a choice between Call of Duty and these two games, I'm more likely to play these two games over the Call of Duty. So I'm just trying to make that clear. But I think Stadia needs the bigger name titles to just give it a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Respect out there. And what's not respect per se, it's
positive reinforcement.
Yeah,
I'd kind of say, I think from a AAA perspective, you expect, when you look to, all of the platforms that are there, that are out there and available for people to play games on, that they are, as platforms have developed, they're games that have come to the platform and have helped them mature and have gained an audience. And I think that's all if I'm reading what you're saying, right, that's all you're intimating that we want to see is kind of that development and those titles coming to continue to have a pull and an attraction in order for the platform to gain that momentum.
Yeah, my fear is Stadia is going to get the reputation, if it doesn't already, of it is an Ubisoft and indie only sort of platform, and I just don't want it to fall into that sort of trap. Again, I am not mocking these games. I think we just need it's not a higher caliber of game. It's just a higher, it's just more well-known games out there. Or I know Trine's well-known and Blue Fire's reasonably recent, but they just need to, if they're going for back catalogue, they just need to get some back catalogue AAA games. And even if they have to pay slightly more than they should, we're not going down that rabbit hole again, just to get them there, because I'm telling you now, these games are becoming a bit of a running joke for some people. These games were announced on the same day as the Bethesda deal for Xbox, and it's just another good look. It's like, here we're competing with consoles, and Xbox have just bought Bethesda, and we're dropping these 20 titles on the xCloud, and we've got Blue Fire and Trine coming. It's that sort of thing. I'm just really worried about the level of games which are coming. And again, and that is not me making fun of these games, because I'm more likely to buy these games. It's just they're not going to appeal to the hardcore or semi-hardcore, and I don't like using them terms, gamer market.
No, and I think, looking through the comments, Tresurector's description of it, the games feel like an extra that a service should deliver, not the main course. And I think that's a really good way to put it. There is a place for every and any type of game, on every platform out there. And that's a sentence that really does sum it up for me. And yes, you don't want to worry because you don't want the platform to be known as an indie platform or the Ubisoft platform, or that sort of thing. You don't want any of that. I mean, I kind of, if I'm being brutally honest, whilst we're on the subject of blog posts, I kind of feel actually they should have just silenced the announcements, because if you know your audience and you know the gaming space and the market that you're in, on a Tuesday when Microsoft confirmed that the Bethesda deal's done, do you know what? Just stay silent for the week, because whatever you say, whatever you do is going to be dwarfed, unfortunately. Whether whether you are Stadia centric in where you play and it's the only place that you play, or whether you play on multiple platforms, if you take that big picture view of the gaming landscape, the gaming sphere, any news this week is trumped completely and utterly by that news. And I think from a PR perspective, it's keep your head down and just carry on till next week.
See, I was going to bring up the topic of blog posts at the end, but since we're on blog posts, I think this week has been a bit of a... I'm going to say we've got 3 blog posts this week, or we're going to come on to the third one in a minute. But they're not selling the service. They forgot about some important things this week. And they could have announced this in the Tuesday one to make it a much better Tuesday post. And they could have mentioned the Watch Dogs Legion update and said, Watch Dogs Legion online now available. Remember, no downloads in Stadia. You can just jump in straight away like that. We're not talking rocket science sort of things here. It's just really frustrating just to watch so many silly wee things that they could have actually added to this just to make things a lot better. So if you combine this Blue Fire and Triumph 4 post along with Watch Dogs Legions online to this Tuesday post, this Tuesday post goes from Blair, and the headline in this is Supercross. And I'm sorry, Supercross is a niche title, but you have these other 2 games come on, and you won't have just Supercross, you'll have them 2 other ones there, and it would look a lot better and it would fill it out more. And you could even put the Watch Dogs online, or the Watch Dogs Legions online onto that as well, and it would have made that a better post, because Stadia doesn't seem to have enough news to cover 2 blog posts in a week, and that is not me making fun of them. That's just the way things are. Make your 1 blog post a week, make it shine, rather than having 2 bleh sort of ones. The one we're coming on to at the end, yes, have that as a separate one, because that's something different. But make this one sing rather than have 2 there sort of ones, because I know I talk to people outside of the Stadia community and people within the Stadia community as well, and people are just going, why can't they just combine things? It just makes things look a bit better.
Yeah, and I think the only other thing I'll say on the blog post is, and I know Andy mentioned it in the chat, and I know we spoke about it earlier in the week, but here we are with another blog post that has got dollar price. There's no euro price. There's no UK price, which I think for me, but we went through a prolonged period where it's X amount in dollars, pounds, or or euros, and that speaks to your entire audience. And it kind of feels a little bit like what we're getting now is, well, we're going to talk to the US audience, and everybody else can figure out what the price is when it lands on the store. And there's something about that doesn't sit quite right with me, in the sense of, now, if you're going to communicate across a platform, communicate to all of the users. Don't single out a particular region of users just for, and I get maybe the player base may be in its biggest and its truest form in the US, but when you start to compile that with the likes of Free Code Friday, US only, and you just kind of think, well, hang on a minute, but we're all invested in the platform and we matter as well. We're consumers just like everybody in the US. Ubisoft Plus rolling out, US only in beta, which I know we've analysed before, and it was really and truly, it was to kind of combat the fact that Luna had launched and it had Ubisoft Plus. But even still, here we are, what feels like 4 or 5 months down the road, and we still don't have it in the EU. We still don't have it in the UK. And you kind of feel like it's one of those things where I really feel like they need to, if the intention is to step it up and be a brand and be a platform for people to enjoy, then it needs to be a platform for everybody.
Okay, I'm going to get my wooden spoon out just to get you going more. Are you ready? Are you watching this one?
Yeah.
Just like Amazon's getting UK, French, and European community managers.
Thanks for dropping that bomb.
I'm just doing a compare and contrast here to another cloud platform. For people who don't know, Amazon are actually recruiting for UK community managers, French community managers. This isn't for French Canadians. This is actual French as in France. And they are also looking for European community managers as well. So they are going to be targeting Europe when they're coming over here, and they're going to have like a full proper, by the looks of it, community team based in Europe, which is absolutely great to see. And I completely agree. It's something which I have said before. They are too concerned with the US market at this moment. And never mind just the US and us over here in the UK. There's the Canadian market, which is absolutely massive for Stadia as well, because we can name a load of Canadian users as well. This isn't picking Stadia, by the way, because I think Stadia's had a pretty decent week this week. I think they've been pretty good. But it's just all these small things again with Stadia, which just add up all the time. Just going back here, I had this in my head just to say when we were talking about the games, it was Blue Fire and Trine. You compare that to the games Luna seem to be actually going after. It feels to me anyway that Luna has actually got maybe someone with a bit more of a gaming head on there, because they seem to be going after titles which are niche and have a bit of an old sort of audience there. If you look at what games have come over the last couple of weeks and months, there seems to be some thought going into that. There's like No More Heroes. We've got I can't say Katamari. We've got No Sonic is a big thing. They seem to be going, we want these sort of games, and they're games which are pulling on nostalgia for some of the older gamers. I'm going to actually give Luna a bit of a try here, and Stadia seems to be as a scattergun. We're going to try and grab everything. Both approaches are fine, but I thought I'm just putting that out there just to give a bit of a contrast and compare.
Is your shovel broke yet?
Yes.
No, and it is. It is. I think they are something I say time and time again. It's about being objective. We started this with the blog post talking about, the fact that it's good that they're padding out the library, and we've moved into the area of where here are the things that they could have done better, and that's all it is for me. It's kind of, we'll point out the good, but equally we'll point out the bad, because they should be in front of everybody for everyone to see.
Yeah, exactly. We are equal ups, because last week we were saying we thought GeForce Now had an absolute poor week, or it was a poor to mediocre sort of time last week. So this isn't just pick on Stadia time. Because again, I'm actually happy that it has been a nice and quiet week. The last, I'm not sure if we want to go for one thing after this. I'll talk to you here, but we've got the FIFA 21 is coming next week, and there's going to be a tournament. Absolutely great that FIFA is coming, and the Stadia community team are absolutely are holding a tournament which anybody can enter. However, very, very key point in this is that participation is free except for the user's cost of buying FIFA 21 on Stadia. For me, that sort of indicates that there is going to be no free weekend next week.
Yep, I would agree. And true to form, it also proves the point that my prediction that they were going to give it as a pro game midway through the month is definitely not going to happen. The thing that, of course, is missing from that is the fact that it's great that they've organised a tournament. It's great that they're giving people 6 days' notice about the tournament. And obviously, we all knew that FIFA was coming on the 17th anyway. But we don't know how much it is. So, and if you're putting a post here about that, and you directly mention cost, to me, you join those dots and say, oh, by the way, is the cost of FIFA, which will be X when it arrives on the platform on the 17th. It's a great way to round it off as a reminder that it comes on the 17th and how much it's going to cost.
Yeah. I think that is a glaring omission, unless they're saving it to Tuesday and they're going to say FIFA is £22, $25 sort of thing, and they're just trying to save the sale for a bit of a surprise, even though we were told Madden was going to be cheaper as well before it actually arrived on the platform. Again, first of all, I think this is absolutely brilliant that they are announcing this, and it's going to happen. But again, leaving off the price, it's like, you have to enter this competition. You can enter this competition, but we're not telling you how much it's going to cost you to actually go into it, because it's just, there's just so many wee small things. Even if would anybody complain if they're going to announce that it's going to be 25% off, 50% off? Because I would actually go, I'm actually going to enter this now because it's cheaper. For me, I am not entering this. I'm still of the opinion I'm not buying any more games on Stadia for the foreseeable future unless it's really cheap. The only way I get onto FIFA next week if it's a free weekend or it's under 15 quid, and I might buy it then.
Yeah, I think we're in the same boat there. I mean, I think the whole community is watching right now for what the price of this is, and dare I say it, next week's going to either be a praise week, or next week is going to be a oh dear week, and because it's that price that drops. It's either going to be in that price bracket that everybody is anticipating to make it worthwhile, to make people put their hand in the pocket, or it's going to be over the top and outside the realms of being reasonable. And I think for me, that just means that we can already see that the conversation next week is one or two ways. It's either FIFA's on the platform, pick it up, it's an absolute steal, or FIFA's on the platform, they've missed a trick because the pricing's wrong.
And I'm going to be absolutely fair on Stadia here. If it comes on at, I'm going to say it, I think it's going to be 50 quid is going to be the normal price for it, around $60. If it does come on full price, no discount, that is not on Stadia, that is on EA. I think that is absolutely fair to say that.
Yes, indeed. And it is a very valid point. As it's not something that's going to be solely pinned on Stadia from that perspective. It is a good reminder for people to kind of be aware of that, I guess. I mean, my expectations are going to be in line with Madden.
I'm going to put this out here. A couple of weeks ago, FIFA 21 was £22 on PlayStation 5. So that would have been about $25, $26 mark. So if it is, for me, it would have to be around that mark or under.
Yes, yeah. Yep. And the frustrating thing is, as well, for me personally, is I know there's quite a few people in the community that I actually really want to have a game of FIFA with. And I think it'd be really, it would be a great game to, to actually see how well the multiplayer works. There's a lot of it, that interests, it interests me in terms of seeing how FIFA 21 performs, how it performs in multiplayer, what the experience is like. And yeah, it would be a shame if I have to miss out on doing that because it's not priced right.
Yeah, and here, yeah, I'm not actually stirring the pot here on purpose. If you are in the Xbox ecosystem, we do know that FIFA is due shortly onto Game Pass because it's just the way things have gone. We don't know if it will be in the xCloud or whatnot, but we do know that it will be coming. And remember, there is no crossplay, just like Madden as well. And again, I would be very hesitant to recommend people buying FIFA if they are multiplayer gamers on Stadia. If you're going to be playing FIFA as a single player, absolutely. If you're happy with the price point and you're happy with the situation, jump in there and buy it. But if you're buying it for multiplayer, I would have some serious concerns about it. I can tell you about my experience with playing on Live, which Stadia seems to be more or less like. I don't want to say it too loudly there, but what happened for me when I was playing FIFA or thought it was PES, you just kept you got to know everybody who you were playing, and I'm just very worried about that in regards. But I'm hoping it comes in cheap, and I hope it sells gangbusters. And this tournament is absolutely brilliant as well.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I want it to be an absolute banger, and of a game to drop on the platform, and I want it to do, great things because I know there's a lot of people who've been waiting for it. So let's keep our fingers crossed and wait and see.
Yeah, I will. Okay, I was going to bring this. I was debating, should I bring this up or shouldn't I bring this up? I am going for, since I've already dug myself a hole, why not jump further into it? There seems to be a lot of people talking about this game jam, which Stadia is sponsoring. I haven't retweeted it. It's not news. It's standard sort of practice out there. Xbox have done one, PlayStation do one, Stadia's doing one. It's nothing that big or startling or anything like that. It would be more shocking if they weren't doing it, to be absolutely frank with you. This is the positive is they are trying to build some grassroots up there, but don't be. I see a lot of people are getting really excited about this, but it's just a run-of-the-mill sort of thing going. If you type in Microsoft Game Jam, PlayStation Game Jam, Amazon Game Jam, you get game jams of all them as well. This is just a common sort of practice, and this is just feeding, trying to get something going there, which is absolutely great to see. But this isn't the start of something absolutely massive. This is just pretty small potatoes sort of thing.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with you. It kind of feels like it feels like a little bit like a positive piece of news for the sake of a positive piece of news, just like a very small grasp at a PR grab. If they were going to do a game jam, and I know we touched on Crater earlier, I would have liked to have seen them. If they, obviously Crater was a big get on the platform until it's now gone to Epic. But, like the week that we see Crater drop onto Epic Store and Stadia then push out, that they're supporting a game jam, to try and obviously work with people to get, to get games onto the platform and get them into the cloud. Nobody's against the idea of a game jam. Everybody loves it. I think if you look at our tweets, we had one planned, which obviously Ben was organising and trying to get a load of people involved. There are things that happen absolutely regularly. I just feel like it's the wrong time. I think they could have seized an opportunity towards the end of last year.
I'm going to tell you this. This isn't even Stadia pushing this. This is the Stadia community pushing this. Stadia hasn't even mentioned it, which is the quite right thing to do. They're just sponsoring it, and I think you're right. It's any sort of crumbs of good news. It seems to be getting pushed out here when this isn't absolutely. This isn't there to do anything. This is them just getting their name out a bit more. This is stuff behind the scenes, but again, this is nothing. Oh my God, this is amazing! And because I've seen a number of people have done this, and they're retweeting. This is brilliant. This is brilliant. This is brilliant. This is just run of the mill, boring stuff, which. It'd be more shocking if they weren't. Remember, they had one a couple of months ago as well. And again, these game jams, normally 9 times out from 10, if not more, nothing comes from game jams. It's more the exception rather than the rule. I can name the famous example of a game which came from a game jam is Super Hot. But again, the vast majority of these games are built over, and this one's a week as far as I know. Most games built in game jams are over a week. Most of them never see the light of day. It's just absolutely... I just don't understand why there's so much hype about this.
No, it's probably a very controversial statement that I'm about to make, so hold on to your hats, but... close down your first party games and entertainment studio and then sponsor people to go and do a game jam and make games for the cloud. I know there's very different sums of money involved, but if you want games designed for the cloud and for your platform, then keep your first party studio to make games to come to the platform. Don't go and sponsor an event in a game jam week and then expect,
See, I think we're being, again, this isn't Stadia. Stadia has absolutely done nothing wrong. This is just more people are just getting really excited over this, and it's a nothing thing. This is really, really sort of small and nothing to really get your knickers in a twist about. But again, I will finish this off in a whole. This has been a reasonable week for. I can't even say reasonable. This has been an okay week for Stadia. It is just about. It's ticking them over. It's another. Let's just tick over here. It's not moving the needle. It's not going to bring anybody to the platform. I'm going to say this, and I said it about Madden, and I think I've been proven right with Madden. This is not going to bring vast sums of people coming to Stadia with FIFA coming. It's just going to be another blah, 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 and build, hopefully. I'm just, again, nothing. There's nothing much really to say. It's been a good week for Stadia because it's been pretty good. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, there was a Games Biz article this week, which Stadia came out and made some changes to. If you haven't checked that out, go check that out. Again, I think it was a very fair piece, and it is, again, backing up a lot of things which a lot of people have been saying about it's actually a bit more difficult bringing games to Stadia than it's let on. There were some inaccuracies in the article which got changed, but when we're talking inaccuracies, we're not talking like vast sums of inaccuracies. They're just minor sort of, there's 20 games with State Share or Stream Connect. But the majority of the article, the meat and the bones of the article was not changed. So it is just I've just seen Andy's comment. But again, go check that out if you want to see what's a bit more behind the curtain with Stadia. Sorry, before we go, I'm going to mention this. Next week, I think we're going to do it live, probably. We are going to have a Cloudy play-along, but it's just going to be with us. But we hope you come to watch. We are going to be playing Among Us. Isn't it next week? Kelly told me to do it.
It's next Friday, yeah.
Next Friday,
Yeah.
we are doing Among Us, so that should be some good crack there. Or I will just get murdered for the sake of getting murdered. So, is there anything else we need to say there?
I think we've said quite a lot in that 1 hour that we tried to keep it 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, but that's par for the course, isn't it?
It is indeed. It is indeed.
Oh, it's next Friday after we do this. Okay. See, I actually remembered.
Yep, indeed.
So I would like to thank everybody for joining us. We will be here next week as well doing this, and you'll have a double helping with the Among Us afterwards. So I just want to say thank you, Barry, for joining.
No, thank you very much. And I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend and manages to squeeze as much gaming in as they possibly can.
Yeah, exactly. And that goes for me as well. Go have fun. Go play some games. It doesn't matter what you play on. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.